Lots to get across today. Joining me now, senior reporter Carolyn Marcus and senior political reporter out of Canberra, Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, we'll start with the fallout from the coalition and the PM, of course, returning from his trip overseas. He addressed what this will mean, in fact, in practical terms, regarding resources for the two parties today. Have a listen.
It is not reasonable that there be more staff or a reward, if you like, for the fact that you have this division has occurred. So we'll give consideration to it, and I'll have discussions with both Sussan Ley and David Littleproud about that.
I will say, though, he's quite happy to give the Teals and others additional staff, or has in the past. I don't know what he'll be doing in this parliament. He doesn't need them as much. But I thought it's a damning indictment on the Libs that they're going to have more people sitting on their front bench, Trudy, than they will on their back bench. And apparently, according to Libs I spoke with today, that part of Sussan Ley's pitch for the leadership was vote for me and I'll give you a job.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating to see how this shakes out. We're expecting the new look only Liberal shadow ministry to be announced either tomorrow afternoon, is my mail, or Friday morning if things get delayed. There are moving pieces here, and there hasn't really been any big leaks as to who is going to hold the key portfolios. We don't know who's going to be shadow treasurer, for example. The deputy gets to choose his position, Ted O'Brien, but so far publicly he's been unwilling to countenance whether that's the job he wants or was that promised to someone else as a part of Sussan Ley actually shoring up her own numbers. The question mark to me is what happens to Angus Taylor. He has not spoken publicly, as far as I can tell, since losing that leadership race against Sussan Ley. Is he given something that looks like an equal job, or is he given something that's essentially what Anthony Albanese did to Tanya Plibersek, a bit of punishment? So I think that'll be fascinating. The numbers are just so tightly balanced in the Liberal party room at the moment. So I think Sussan Ley will have that in mind when she allocates these portfolios.
Yeah, just on that point, Trudy, I mean, something like foreign affairs or defence, they sound like important portfolios and they are in government. They're not that important in opposition, but they have a certain cachet. That could be where some of these people go. But interestingly, the people I spoke to today, most of them think that this is possibly the worst of all worlds, and they want to run a mile. I mean, they will probably be prevailed upon to take a job, but they'd rather not, because they think this is a sinking ship and going down fast, and it hasn't even been announced yet. Yeah, what an absolute mess. And we were talking about it earlier today on air with Kieran Gilbert, whether there is some creative solution where you give someone two portfolios, in essence hedging for a world in which the coalition reforms, and then you then have to give the Nationals portfolios back. Sussan Ley said when she was asked that she wasn't going to be telling people you are in line to be demoted. Now, that obviously would be pretty difficult to do. So whether there is a workaround where you could give someone two portfolios with the knowledge that one would go to the Nats, what an absolute mess. This has been a rather spectacular week in federal politics. Yeah, I thought of that, Trudy. I thought that's the way you do it. You give them something like trade and industry, let's say, trade traditionally being National Party, or agriculture and industry. But then you've still got the complication. If you max out your 30 spots in the shadow ministry, you haven't got any additional spots. You'd have to take an individual out and put an individual in. It isn't just carving up the portfolios. And of course, you'll get cranky Liberals if you don't have all of those positions filled. Fingers crossed, hoping that the Nats might turn up. I think it's extraordinary. And I also think what's interesting to Caroline are her comments today that she doesn't see this being reformed before the next election. I think that's a mess. And then you've got what happened, or what played out this morning on Breakfast TV, where it's, you know, not just a bit of a trial separation, it looks and sounds like a divorce. Have a look at this.
So get this. We asked Deputy Liberal leader Ted O'Brien on the show last night and he agreed. This morning, out of courtesy, we told him Matt Cannavan was coming on too. All seemed okay. And then 20 minutes ago, his team rang saying he won't come on with Cannavan. I mean, you can't make it up. It's like maths, the Canberra edition.
It's not often this stuff gets made public. You know, we have these same conversations, as you know, Caroline. We get told a whole lot of stuff before people come on air, but it's not often that's made public, but it was this morning.
That would leave the producers and the hosts struggling in that spot, which traditionally they'd have two people on. They'd planned to have Matt Cannavan and Ted O'Brien, and now they're going to have to fill that spot with just one person. So, I mean, that's why Carl's upset about it. And occasionally these things sort of come out, and I think that's always the risk, because it becomes the story and it overshadows anything that you were meant to discuss. I mean, it is like a divorce in a way. It's like when you invite a divorced or separated couple to a family event and one person says, I'm not going if that person's going, and the other person says, I'm not going, and it becomes this whole messy situation. So it doesn't look good. I mean, Ted O'Brien, for his part, has come out and said, look, it wasn't how it appears. I've got no beef with Matt Cannavan. My team's got mixed up. But it doesn't, and Matt Cannavan said the same, that they're actually mates, but it certainly doesn't appear that way. Not a good look at all.
Not a good look at all.